If we chose a path to leave politics for other people, why did you choose to align to National Unity Platform, not taking part NRM? Because we are seeing that NRM is the monopoly here. To have dishonesty in our own leaders, and this dishonesty is carried up to the president. What were the biggest lessons? Was more of a fictional portrayal of the democracy in the country in a film whereby the president is a star. And successfully, I was able to sue them to court. We pursued the case. What is the future of National Unity Platform in the next 10 to 20 years? Organizing to change power, all overtaking the government to become a government. It is far, far different from organizing for a party. Today on this podcast, we dive into East Africa's real stories. Our guest today is Natukunda B. Innocent, a team leader for regional coordinators for National Unity Platform. He's ready to share with us his grassroots struggles for power and the future of Uganda. Thank you for the opportunity to, first of all, come up with this initiative, and also to post me. Yes, I am the team leader of National Unity Platform, and National Unity Platform is a party that is rallying Ugandans, mobilizing Ugandans for change, so that you can see a new Uganda that is far, far better than what we are having now. It's a pleasure that every time we have an opportunity to speak to Ugandans, we mobilize them and we tell them why it is important for them to support the National Unity Platform and not keep in the total slumber where they have been. First and foremost, if you look at Tooro as a whole, you realize that there are a number of things that Tooro has not had, yet it is a whole too. It is in Tooro where the infrastructure is undeveloped. Many areas in Tooro are still struggling with roads and other kind of infrastructure, schools, electricity, piped water, poor health care, and others. There are a number of students who have to walk for about 3 to 4 kilometers to reach in the nearby either secondary school or primary school. And it's not just by design or by desire. It is a failure to provide for better services. Our healthcare is so much needed to the extent that there are fewer cases whereby one has to walk to the government facility and is able to find drugs, is able to find staff that work on him or her. And of course, some get treatment on the floors of those health centers. It puts us in a more terrible situation. The time is now that we must focus and mobilize Ugandans, tell them that this is the time we must set a new beginning for us not to be blamed by the generation that's come, but also for ourselves. It's a blame here. Okay, that's quite interesting. There is a mentality of people thinking politics is a data game. We know when we last met, you had a profession that you are doing. What transitioned you from your professional career to politics? I want to assure Ugandans and more so people of Tooro that the engine of everything we are doing in this country, in this world, rotates around politics. Yes, it is in politics where our salaries as professionals is determined. It is in the politics where the health care is determined and the budgets are allocated to schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and other things. It is in politics that the taxes which we wake up every day to pay, right away from the toothbrush you carry to clean your teeth, to the toothpaste, to the water you use, the electricity you're using to light and see, all those have taxes that are determined by politicians. So if we chose a path to leave politics for other people and then we focus on other things like profession, it would simply render us vulnerable to sit down and wait for what other people will determine, and at the end of the day, it is us to suffer. I think it is a motivation for me that instead of leaving all that power to others to determine for me. It is better that I wake up and also carry the mantle, take a tone and say, let me be part of the change. One of the philosophers say, Mahatma Gandhi, that be the change agent of the world you want to see. If we keep down, if we keep home and stay lamenting on what government should have done and is not doing it, and also see that the will of doing it is also not there, it renders us more reckless than holding on and say, no, what we have seen it. Let's hold all the tools we can hold to ensure that we change the government and execute it in the way that we want to see. If, for instance, we had a developing country whereby things are getting much better than they were, I would find reasons to say, no, hold on, let me first take this path and develop a career without going into politics. But now that I am seeing a lot taking different shape, going in reverse, a country turning into an undesirable community to live in, forcing our own professionals and young people to live and go to do even what we call same skilled jobs out of this country. I feel something is wrong, and I feel that as a generation, we have what to do than to leave others do it for us.
When we look in the region you're covering, that is a Tooro region, it is a mostly taken by the ruling party, that is NRM. Why did you choose to align to National Unity Platform, not taking part NRM, because we are seeing that NRM is the monopoly here? Yes.
Whereas I understand that NRM has been taking lead here, and many people think that the Tooro is for NRM. First of all, I'm not moved by bandwagon effect that because many have chosen this path, then I should also take. No. Two, it is also not true that the people of Tooro, majority of them are supporters of the NRM. I have been in politics. I know what happens in Tooro, and if I might go through, so that people who think that Tooro is for NRM understand, the truth is that during elections, Tooro becomes a very fertile ground for the regime to find a way of manipulating elections, simply because we do not have enough coverage. Two, most of our polling stations are hard to reach. Three, the people who are in this region are more psychopaths. That they want to portray an image that Tooro is okay because for them they are okay, and also and that now they want to carry that their own image of perceiving what this government is. They want to carry it on and paint it on the picture of Tooro. Tooro has, as we talk today, is not an NRM ground like it has been. There has been a very, very steadfast improvement in political mentality, in political support, and the transformation. Though, if we don't give people information, if we don't give platform to other parties to come and also do rallies here freely, do voter protection here fully, we might continue thinking that Tooro is an NRM right. Most of the leaking and vote manipulation is done here in Tooro and other rural dominated areas, whereby of course they know opposition may not have enough manpower and human resource to manage the elections there. If we had a free and fair election that has no influence of the state, has no manipulation in it, and is not influenced by small tokens and handouts which are given to local people after suffocating them in poverty, I can assure you that the people of Tooro cannot continue supporting this government. Maybe just to tell the viewers and also you, the host, that Tooro is one of the regions that has very few people in senior government positions. If you look at commissioners, you look at ministers, you look at high-profile persons in this government, Tooro is considered last. But just because we have a few sycophants
who think that because they are okay, Tooro is okay, who think that if you do it for them, you would have done it for Tooro. That is the spirit and message they carry to the head of state. The way people of Tooro are marginalized in sharing the national cake, in sharing the national budget. I am very sure that the president, maybe if he was serious, like we ought to think, who would be seeing the moment. But because we have had a president who's always given the good stories and the story that the people told are okay, the Batoro have no problem, the Batoro appreciate it, he thinks that Tooro is the model relator. Even when he comes here, by the way, to my surprise, last time he was here, they took him to homes of successful farmers and wanting him to be aligned in a way that these are the beneficiaries of PDF. You have a successful farmer who has been a Tooro for over 10 years doing the same thing. By God's luck, has been successful. But the other DC here, the minister coming from here, will tell you that this person is successful because of PDF. And number 7, in his thinking, he's ought to believe that what they're telling him is true. Yes. I think one of the biggest challenges we have as a sub-region is that we have dishonesty in our own leaders, and this dishonesty is carried up to the president, who is also ready to investigate what actually happens on the ground. Building from that, you can give us a picture of what is happening in Tooro, socially, economically. How are people doing? Yes. If I talk about infrastructure development, for instance, Tooro has had a number of times it has had promises in the manifesto of this government. Roads like Kitura Charoso's road, which has been in this government's manifesto for so long and has never been worked on. Even when the president came to talk about it, it has never been worked on. The road is very terrible, and it is affecting the livelihood of very many people in that area. If you look at the main road that is leading Tooro to the capital city, it is in the terrible state to the extent that we have lost very many lives on that road simply because we have been unconsidered. If Tooro was considered in its glory, we would be having a very, very good road that is leading to Tooro, not just to pick what we are producing as Tooro, but also to ensure that the same road is delivering services to the people of Tooro. If I talk about in the same spirit of infrastructure, it is here in Tooro that the president promised a stadium, a 30-seater stadium with a pavilion. Go to Buhinga, which is just a few kilometers from here. We have a perimeter wall, and I'm sure as we talk now, with all you can find there is a few cows grazing and some few days. It is an illusion of hope to think that the people of Tooro have benefited from this government and will continue to benefit from it. Socially, we would be looking at the employability of people in Tooro, the income levels of the people of Tooro, and that can be intertwined with the economically. Here in Tooro, to qualify for a job and get it from local government, you either have someone who is highly connected to connect you, or you have enough money to bribe. And these are not things that the government is not aware. You have to go to school, pay millions of money. Of course, your parents pay. After school, you have to mobilize a number of millions to also go and brave and get a job. Chances also not getting that job are also high. So there are many young people who are not employed in this government, not because they don't qualify, but because of irregularities and manipulation of the system. Does not allow them. In Tooro here, we have schools whereby the classrooms are not enough, the teachers are not enough, and the numbers are overwhelming. So in so doing, that's why you have high school dropout. But I largely believe that socially, politically, economically, the people of Tooro have a reason. Yes. Now, is the problem the president or the people? Because we are seeing Tooro elects leaders. Do you think these leaders, have they sent the voice to the big man? Thank you for the question. In the first place, I want to tell you that the system of this country is designed in the way that
The leaders we are voting under the yellow bus, they are not opting for the bus that because it's the best option. They are opting to go under or through the bus, yes, because that is what can easily reach them to the meal cart. And that I think is much to do with self-interest ahead of common interest. If you meet any understanding on NRM ticket and you go deep into conversation, off the microphone, off the air, you realize that these people do not love NRM. These people do not love this government. But because they think that our local people, they can best understand the language of this government, they subscribe through that government to ensure that they make a win and get to deliver to those positions. Now what happens? If by luck they get there, they appreciate that first of all, without the NRM bus, they wouldn't make it there. And some who have been living by the state machineries and the mafias, they also appreciate that it is by the effort of these mafias that they have made it. So it puts them in a very, very tough situation for them to keep pushing for what the common person of Tooro would be expecting them to push. And instead they now sit to relax and enjoy the harvest of their sweat at the time of negotiating what Tooro should be getting.
Taking you back, you can walk us through the 2021 court against, that was, I think, Mweng North. That was against the Electoral Commission. What were the biggest lessons?
In 2021 elections, what we saw in Mweng North and Tooro was a sham, was more of a show, was more of a fictional portrayal of the democracy in the country in a film whereby the president is the star. When we went to elections of 14th January 2021, Mweng North did not vote for directly elected members of parliament. And the reason was that the ballot paper had faulties whereby photos of candidates had been interchanged. I wrote to the Electoral Commissioner immediately and told them, if you're organizing for another election, first of all, you must be able to give it enough time, because we have been mobilizing, yes, and takes time. People have been traveling from far distances to go and cast their votes, which may not be easy for them to come in a short period. And a lot of resources have been wasted. So, on top of asking them to postpone the election for some good time that can allow us prepare, I also ask them to compensate the candidates, including myself, who had spent a lot in the name of organizing for an election, but also in the name of mobilizing resources that can aid the smooth running of an election. This included cars, fuel, food, and so many things. Yes. So Electoral Commissioner did not honor my complaint. I followed up like any other person to find out what could be the reason why they are not responding to my complaint. They took it light. And the next option was to give them an intention to sue. And successfully, I was able to sue them to court. We pursued the case up to its best, and we won the case in the Chief Magistrate Court. Of course, there are other tendencies that we go through, and that is what is delaying the other modalities. But I believe that to go to court was not just to seek for justice, but was also to give them a lesson. Yes. That next time you're organizing an election like this, please be careful. There's no reason why Natukunda would pay you 3 million alongside other candidates who are like 4 or 5, which amounts to around 15 million. And you cannot hire someone who can critically analyze the ballot paper and ensure that the particulars of candidates align with the photos of their align very well in line with the photos, names, and symbols.
Digging deeper in the Tooro region, because we're looking at Tooro region being a dominated area for the ruling party. How do you mobilize communities that are still hesitant about oppositions in politics?
Is first of all to give them the message of change, the message of truth, and trying to clear away all those lies that have been put by the state and its operatives to show that our people are well off in NRM. Recently, we had a saga whereby the president was moving around this sub-region, monitoring PDM, my Paris Global model, whereby the average poor families were given 1 million. That a single MP in the constituency was given 100 million, which is ideally the amount of money that each parish got in the name of PDM. And we tell Ugandans that this is your money, this is your tax. There's no single reason as to why this government should continue fooling you that after milking millions of money from you in the name of taxes, it is bringing back some token and also bring it in the form of loans. Two, we are telling them that the 40 years of being in power this government has had were enough for its village to be having piped water, were enough for each village to be having electricity, were enough for each village for at least every sub-county or every parish to be having a health center, a government health center, or even a school. But looking at the bigger picture of Tooro, there are a number of parishes, a number of sub-counties that have even lasted for more than 10 years that have no taste of what a government school looks like, especially secondary and health center. There are a number of people who still move a number of kilometers to seek for medication, even on a simple illness. This is not the weakness of having a poor country. It is because we have a rich country whose leadership is so corrupt to even think about the services that the common person is looking at. So the message to the people of Tooro, the people of Uganda, is that we are bad off, we are continuing to be poor, not because that's how God designed it. A choice of being poor is not made by God. The choice of determining where to put a road and where not to put it is not determined by God. It is a choice of yourself, but aided by the services that this government must provide to you so that you find it an enabling stepping stone for you to progress.
Looking at the leader of the National Unity Platform, how has Bobi Wine changed Uganda political landscape?
I would prefer it if you called him His Excellency Chagulai. It's so, but now that most of the people know him as Bobi Wine, yes, I wouldn't refute that truth. But the truth is that Bobi Wine in the politics of Uganda is a new Messiah, is the new hope, is the new revolution leader, a new generation leader. The only icon, the only spice that was lucky is that being led by someone of the generation that is crying. So the coming of His Excellency Chagulai came at the time when we have a number of young people taking lead in cooperation. Jesus. And he was also coming from the same bracket. Chagulai is not an old man. He's not a very, he's probably in his early 40s. And he started his mission. He started his gospel of change when he was very, very young, I think at the age of 23. And the only difference is that his message was through music and other avenues. And to come to the spotlight of active politics was at the time when we had almost given up on the need for change, in the way that we had trusted many people to lead us to change, and at the end of the day, they did not have a clear agenda. So, Chagulai comes appealing collecting the ideas and concerns of the crying generation, puts it in a simple message that has attracted thousands and thousands of people, millions and millions of Ugandans who think that this is the president we should have, because he truly understands who the common person is, the concerns of a Ugandan, and represents the majority of the population. The coming of Chagulanyi is more of a blessing to the people of Uganda, but more so the people of Tooro in particular. I believe that with the good manifesto, with the good messaging, with the good agenda that he has had and laid on table for every Ugandan to see, given an opportunity, Ugandans would have the best country we have not had. And the regime is aware about this.
Yes.
The only limitation that this regime has succeeded in doing is to ensure that those who understand Chagulanyi do not have the gap to preach him to those who have not heard from him. Even when he says, I am coming to do this, there are a number of checks, there are a number of restrictions that are put to ensure that he has not reached to many Ugandans, because they are very sure that his message is appealing. They are very, very sure that his message is more of there's a word in the Bible. This is more of a revelation. That the people are revealed and masked of the mask that they have held for the last 40 years, that this regime has masked them.
Yes.
Which is why even when we had him in the last weeks, there were a number of restrictions that restricted him from passing through the main roads, the main town, they tried to do a lot of things, a lot of restrictions to ensure that where he's passing, at least he's not felt or the message is not heard. But nonetheless, we have the media, we have messengers, we have people who are traveling in their own areas. And this is the message, by the way, His Excellency talks about every day. He says, we may not have Chagulanyi in every corner of this country, but where you are, you who understands what exactly happens in this country, be a Chagulanyi in that place. And at the end of the day, the people will be able to understand the message, carry it on to others, and we shall be able to have change.
Okay, that's good. We are looking at what are internal reforms is the National Unity Platform is undertaking currently to grow strong ahead of 2026 general elections.
In the first place, there are a number of reforms that we are looking at. First of all, and the most current, is the youth mobilization. We are mobilizing the youth to ensure that they fill all those structures from the EC and ensure that we are rooted right away from the grassroots. But that's to ensure that we have enough support yearly to the 6 elections. And we are not only looking at structures, we're also looking at building a very strong and concrete mobilization and coordination team. And these are also structures that are running alongside these other structures instituted by the Electoral Commissioner. So there will be a number of formations that we have rolled out, which will carry on the message, which will carry on the mobilization task ahead of the 2026 elections, which we believe is a strategy for us to change power. But if it doesn't, they shall pick others.
We're looking at the parties in Uganda, others they come and go. If I may pose this question to you, what is the future of National Unity Platform in the next 10 to 20 years?
Well, whereas definitely we would project what may come or may not come, but the truth is that we are the next government. how we become the next government is a question of time, is a question of strategy, is a question of strategy that me and you may not agree on this microphone. But the one guarantee that I can give Ugandans is that the National Unity Platform does not have 5 years to become a government of this country. You see, why I am limiting myself to tell you that this is the strategy we're going to use, it is that organizing to change power, or overtaking the government to become a government. It is far, far different from organizing for a party. It is on organizing for a party where I will tell you that we need matoke, we need Irish and that kind of thing, or meat. But the struggle to change government has a number of strategies which you keep trying until one proves you right. But the resolve and the commitment of the people who support NUP and believe in it, we believe that in the projection of time you have laid, or even less, we shall be a government in power, and Ugandans will admire that government because it will be carrying a lot of actions than words like we are seeing this government day.
We are looking at coordinating here and there. It needs resources and time and a lot of things that are included. How do you coordinate efforts to larger districts, for example, Chenjojo, Chegegwa, Ntoroko, Kamwenge, and other districts as a regional coordinator?
We try as much as possible to decentralize the struggle. That what I can do while in Chenjojo can also be done in Kamwenge, even when I'm not there. That what I can do in Fort Poto, someone else in Bunyangabo can do it. We try as much as possible to have our foot soldiers trained, our structures of leaders trained to carry on the mantle, to carry on the struggle and take it to the grassroots when it is not depending on one person. There is a problem when we choose to say we are opting that so and so moves the whole region. We are opting for so and so to move the whole country. It would be that by the time this person is gunned down, all cracked down, all arrested, all the operations of this struggle will be laid down. And now the strategy to beat it, or to even put it in the best corner, is to ensure that everyone is performing what they are supposed to do as far as contributing to this struggle is concerned, where they are, without necessarily moving persons from here to there. Yes.
Okay. Currently, you are aspiring to become the member of parliament that is Mwenge North constituency. What strategy are you laying out to win this election? Because we looked in the past election, there was some scandal here and there, as you have explained.
There are a number of things, there are a number of activities we do to ensure that we win. These strategies are like what you had in second record confidentials. If I woke up and told you how I'm going to win, it means even you, the next day when you go there, you will win. If that's a sure way. So I try as much as possible to limit my words when it comes to matters of strategy. But my method of work is that, first of all, we reach out to the people and tell them the truth. We show them the manifesto that, look here, when you have Natukunda and is in parliament, is able to lobby for good infrastructure in terms of roads, in terms of piped water, in terms of electricity, and is able to lobby for bursaries so that our students can have a future ahead of where they are. Is able to lobby for at least health centers per every administrative unit. As we talk today, Mwenge North has 11 administrative units, but there are very few government hospitals, government health centers, government schools that match with the number of administrative units. And it costs only a courageous committed and vibrant person to go to parliament, to go to ministries and lobby for what I've just mentioned it, to come to the constituency. So the only hope for Mwenge North is Natukunda, myself, who can be able to say that this is what I stand for, and if I'm not getting it, please tell me when, and have that consistency until it is delivered.
What alternative programs or policies that you have as National Unity Platform that will help to uplift challenges that are in Tooro region?
Tooro as a part of the reason in this country ushers us an opportunity explore deep what is in the manifesto of the National Unity Platform. The policies of the National Unity Platform cover, yes, the country at large, but they have much to do with the Tooro Sub-region. We appreciate that the Tooro is one of the regions that are behind in terms of involvement, regardless of the support they're given to the party, and in mobilization and the policy making, we are trying to incorporate an element of regional balance. But what is good for Uganda is good for Tooro. What is good for Ankole is good for Eastern. What is good for Bunyoro is good for Teso. So one of the policies I must talk about is regional balance, to ensure that development in all other regions is at the same pace with development in Tooro, which this government has not managed to do. We are looking at uplifting the health and the and education sector, which we believe that Tooro must leap big, because it is in Tooro where we had the famous schools in the very, very ancient years, like Nyakasura, the Chegobes, which no longer now shine on the map of the country. So uplifting the education sector in the country has a special mention of Tooro as a sub-region, to ensure that we go back to the other glory where people had to travel from as far as the northern to come to Tooro for medical education.
How do you respond to critics who say that National Unity Platform is centralized? It is within Uganda, that is Kampala and Uganda. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you so much. One thing and one fact that all Ugandans must embrace is that in terms of literacy, Central is ahead of us. Many elites chose to stay in the city, chose to harbor in the city, chose to do business in the city, and that makes it quite flexible for them to understand the message of change than any other region. It is not that the people in the Central have a gun. Central people are mixed. Some come from within us. Some are part of our families here in Tooro, in Deso, in far West Nile, and they choose to reside in Kampala. The difference is that when the crude is moving to the city, the semi-crude choose to remain in rural areas. So when I'm talking about policies, when I'm talking about taxes, when I'm talking about the increasing cost of living, when I'm talking about the unemployment, when I'm talking about the poor health care, it is easier for someone who is elite to understand me than someone who is in the rural area. We still have a category of people in the rural setting who do not know that you need the Panadol to get rid of maybe a headache. They are still using local herbs to cure simple illnesses. We have someone who does not know that at the end of the month has a bill to pay. Yes. And those people are majority in the rural settings. We have people who have given up on in life to even send children to school. So the burden of sending children to school is not for them. But Central Central puts you in a place whereby you cannot stay home with children who are not going to school and you think you're safe. Most of the schools have they pay high school fees. At the end of the month, you have a bill on electricity, you have a bill on water, you have taxes, and all sorts of things. So because for them, they feel the message. Okay, they are deeply hurt by what this government has failed to do. They choose to support NUP as the only party that has given them hope to take over power. You cannot support the DP because it does not have the momentum. We have Chagulanyi power. I don't know if you've heard. That where there is, you see, even in football, you go with someone who has a ball. It is Chagulanyi with the ball and is targeting to shoot. So, okay, Central people understand better what message we are delivering to Ugandans. And they are most affected because they carry all the cream and they leave us with the same cream. Okay. Which is the reason as to why we don't see much support from these areas, but we see support in those areas. If it is a Uganda party, we would be seeing Chagulanyi freely coming here and moving without interruption. Because it is a Chagulanyi, it is a Uganda party. But because they believe that this is a Ugandan revolution and the time is now, they make sure that they try to they use all kind of propaganda to ensure that the people of Uganda look at it as the Uganda party and don't support it. But inside, deep inside, they will know that this is the revolution that they're trying to marginalize so that the people don't get the truth. Even the Bible says my people are being misled due to ignorance. They are being there's what Bible brings it better. They are being weak. My people are being weak because of not knowing, lack of knowing, ignorance.
How has Bobi Wine's message resonated with the people of Tooro and the Western Uganda at large?
The message of change, like I said, it is cross-cutting. When Bobi Wine is talking about reforms in electoral commission, when he's talking about reforms in education, when he's talking about reforms in health, when he's talking about reforms in agriculture, when he's talking about reforms in recruitment exercises in public service, is speaking so much to someone in Western and someone in Tooro and the Uganda tribes. There's no one who speaks to Uganda without Tooro. If we are looking at reforms like maybe the recruitment process in local governments, which has been treated to be the most corrupt and the manipulative system. If you look at streamlining it, we are addressing the concern of the person in Tooro. We are addressing the concern of the person in Western. If you are looking at reforms to revive the growth of the education system and have better systems that our children can enjoy school, we are speaking life to someone in Tooro, to someone in Western. If you are reviving hospitals and healthcare, we are speaking a lot to someone in Tooro because you will not have to put in a transport to go to Kampala to seek for medication. You will not have to start mobilizing locally for billions of money or millions of money to go abroad for treatment. We are looking at reviving the glory of institutions in Uganda, and Uganda is not limited to Tooro, but in a special version of institutions like healthcare, Tooro is most hurt. You saw what happened in Uganda here when we lost a musician, a local musician, Chigamba Rai. It almost caught fire across the nation. And it was an eye-opener that no one is safe until all of us are safe. If Chigamba cannot get treatment in Uganda, I don't think that Natukunda can easily get it. So, the reforms that the National Unity Platform is bringing on table of change and under the leadership of His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi, I believe that carry much more meaning, carry much more life to the people of Tooro, to the people of Western, and the people of Uganda at large. As a National Unity Platform, we can't leave this barely. You always talk of people power. People power, our power. What does this mean? People power, our power is a slogan used to, first of all, speak to the common person. that there is power this person is holding, which is being underutilized. But yet it has all it takes to usher Ugandans to change. For instance, we are going into an election. This election is about numbers. Numbers are people. So when we say people power, our power, we are trying to give a message to Ugandans, who are the citizens of this country, that you are the people who have the power to change this government, to change institutions of this, and the reforms of this government, to change the operation of this government, and also to change the narrative that has been instituted or embedded in the minds of people in this country. Okay, you can give your final marks. This is the time that we must organize, mobilize, and ensure that we cast a protest vote. A vote of say enough is enough. A vote of demonstrating that this is what we can use. Because if you walk the camp street, probably you would use the state that we have entrusted you with all the resources to fight us back. But now this is the protest. This is the vote we're going to use to ensure that we demonstrate all the anger, all the disappointments we have had with the state and the 7 big at the top. So Ugandans should wake up and should realize that no one is going to cause change in this country apart from us who are feeling the pain of the Ugandans. I beg to submit.
Okay, wow, that's quite interesting. And that was from Innocent B. Natukunda, a team leader of regional coordinators from National Unity Platform, sharing his voice of Uganda political story. I hope if you have enjoyed this conversation, you can share it to your friend as we build and make this show go beyond the boundaries. This marks the end of this episode. I've been your host, Joseph from Banyoro, for God and my country.